Hey everyone, I've got something unique today to start a project with. This is a 1925 Victor Victrola Granada phonograph. It's not quite complete. This is a part and cracked and won't lock onto this. That's obviously been added later. The crank doesn't work, so the spring is probably broken. But the cabinet is just beautiful. It was $100 on Craigslist. I just didn't want to pass it up because there's a lot you can do with these. I think I can get it so it actually functions. I'm pretty sure I can get the spring working. This is going to be a bit of a challenge, but I did get a bag full of parts, spare needles, and a couple of other pieces that may go to this. So anyway, we're going to be working inside today. It's nice because it is over 90 degrees outside, and this is going to be a fun project. So we're going to see. Maybe we'll even test out a zombie build on it. I'll show you something. So I have had this phonograph since I was a teenager. This, I believe, is like a 1911. And believe it or not, you can play an iPod through this thing now. So it's going to be interesting. Next few days, I'll be focusing on this. I'm going to put some time into research first because I don't know a lot about these. What I do know is that by 1925, this type of Victrola, this technology was becoming outdated. And these, no, my cat's not dead. He's just trying to be cute. These Granadas were to compete with radio and the quality of broadcast sound. So then it apparently is night and day different sounding than the previous crank phonographs. But I've never heard one. So I want to get it going because I want to hear it. I have some old 78s from the 20s and I want to hear what this thing sounds like. I bet you do as well. So let's get busy. Let's get busy, Muggsy. No? Okay, let's see what I got in this bag of parts here. I've got a gasket with dust on it. Probably goes in there, I guess. I guess it goes there. Got some needles in here. There seems to be, there's several needles, and there's this little tiny screw. Needles will go in there. And more needles. Yeah, there's one more needle hiding in here. Kind of hard to see it. Alright, this is just the cap to this, as far as I know. I don't know if this goes in here. Maybe, why not? I don't know what else it does. Alright. This is just that. This doesn't appear to be made for this one because it doesn't really fit in here and it's too big for that. This little screw. It looks like it would be for that, but it's not. These are just not, that's just a knob. I don't really know what that is. I'm not that familiar with these guys. I don't know what that is either. So I got a whole bunch of parts here that I just don't know what they are. Let's look at them close up. Pretty standard type of part, kind of a threaded spacer. Doesn't look like these parts are exactly required for this. No idea what that is. This is just a little button knob or a tie down. This actually might be the same on the back. This, I'm not sure. No, it does. It actually fits right in there. So that goes in there, obviously. I don't know really what for. Or if it goes in just like that. And then this goes in. And this comes off and that goes there. But that's about it. I don't know what these other parts are. So I'm going to put these other parts back in the bag. Right, Mugs? Let's go around to the back. See how this thing all comes apart. I'll get just 2 of these, huh? Let me get a screwdriver and we'll take a look inside at the spring motor and the wind-up. Let me see why it's not working. Box. Who knows how long it's been since this has been opened. This comes out and removed. Well, I can tell you one thing. I can't really see very well in here, but there is some really old grease dripping down. There's the motor. It's greased. There's the crank handle coming through. Let me get a flashlight, see if I can take a quick look and see what's going on here. This spring is all enclosed, so if that spring's broken, I tend to doubt I'm going to be able to fix that. But I'm hesitant to touch this thing without gloves because it has old grease. All right, I'll be back. I'm gonna get some gloves and a light. All right, so this is dried up gobs of grease. Does not need to be on here. Ruined my first glove by taking that stuff off. Yeah. There's a grease up in here. It's not great. There's a diagram in there. I can get this thing to focus right there. I'll try to take a picture of that and put it up. Tone arm. Solid goes in here. This is actually heavy. Big heavy metal one. It's not wood. I would have thought it was wood, like it is in that guy right there. This is not wood. I guess I gotta figure out what's going on with the crank and why it's not cranking the motor. But first off, I gotta get rid of this stuff. Be right back. Okay, I got my grease gun and a towel. And the first thing I'm gonna do is kind of, it doesn't seem, the drum is moving. It's not moving that arm. Sorry if you couldn't see that. The drum is actually moving in there. So I'm gonna put some new grease on there. And look at that arm. I put this towel down because this is gonna get kind of dirty and I'm in the house, not outside. So I will be back soon, but interesting. Very interested that that's metal. Very heavy. Okay, I'm gonna go through a lot of gloves on this one because I got a lot of the old grease off. I got some new grease in there. That's obviously a little too much right there. But interestingly, as I greased it, I found that the gears were a little knocked off. They weren't aligned right. So that kind of goes in line with the lady. She says she's owned it. The old lady we got it from, she was 86, I think she said. And she said it worked until the last time they moved it, when they moved to this house in Florida. So I believe when they moved it, it must have gotten jostled a little bit. So let's see what happens now. It's turning. Looks to me like it's winding. Yeah, it's winding. Oh, we may have already fixed this. So the spring is good. Looks like. I can feel tension building up on this, and it's connected. So let's go around and see. Now, hold on. Sometimes you gotta kind of get them going. I haven't wound it very much, so don't expect it to really take off like a... But it's working. Okay. All right, this is really cool. So I gotta take this off, put this gasket back on. That is really working. Look at that. That is cool. That is so cool. So already we've got the mechanism greased and working. I can put this back panel on. So my hand's clean. Let's just go right to that. Oh, well, I'll show you the motor. Actually, it's working. Under its own power before I seal this thing up. There it goes. See it all. Working that grease around can I put in. Some of it anyway. Looks like there's a spot there. I could have put some grease up there. I'll take care of that quickly. Check it out. Wild. Wild. So it hasn't run, I guess, in about, I think she said since like the 1980s or so, when they moved to Florida. No, it's been a while. But that's all it was. So now we gotta figure out why they took apart the tone arm. And put the brake on. The brake doesn't seem to want to work. Alright, let me see if I can just do this without it stopping. We just need a little bit of grease. Right there. Get some right there. Put it up here. There we go. Great. Okay, that's greased up. Alright, I can take my gloves off. Oh, it just stopped. Well, the brake eventually works, just a little slow. Take my gloves off, put this panel back on. We're already done with the inside. I can't believe it started working that easily. Sometimes you get lucky, I guess. Alright, thumb screws are in. Let's go around to the front. Don't need the light anymore. Don't want that grease gun to fall over and get grease all over everything. Let's go back here. Alright, so The tone arm is next. We're going to take that off. That's just a few screws. If I can figure out what I did with my screwdriver that I had back here, I seem to have lost immediately as I what to do. And almost all the stuff, this is just going to be flathead screws. So, get you close in. All right, I will put the drop light up here so we have a little bit more light, if I can do it so it makes sense. That look better, I guess. All right, so we just got 4 screws here. I have a feeling, yeah, they're not even really tight. Somebody worked on this. I don't know what they thought they were gonna do by taking this arm off, because I don't think this was part of the problem. Alright, so this must go here. It does. Well, actually, does it go there? Or does that go there? That goes there. And this goes there. Okay, so that's that. So at this point, I'm gonna take a pause in the rebuilding and let's look at this thing. So this, I'm pretty sure this is how this goes. I'm not 100% sure how this piece goes or what ultimately its function is. I do know this goes in here, and see this little pin here? That is a locking pin for this. Actually, I'm gonna put, I'm not being careful enough with this cabinet. Put a piece of tape there to stop this from rubbing. Back to here. So, it looks to me, this is a set screw. This is the pin for locking in there. There is another set screw. Well, maybe that's what that little screw in the bag of parts was. Sounds like it might be too big for that, but let's see. Perhaps not. Nope, looks like that's it. Alright, so I got some screwdrivers here. Let's see. I can do this without dropping it. Is that the right screw? I don't know. Don't think it's going to do anything because it appears to be broken off. But let's try it. Don't think it's going to lock anything in place at all. No, it's not going to lock anything. Alright, so we got the gasket there. Let's see, I gotta be careful of this needle because these needles are, that needle there, that is sharp and a good way to get tetanus probably. I'm trying to find that where the pin is. They turn that way to lock, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference at this point. Okay, so well, that's not tight. So these pieces will need to be rebuilt. This isn't tight enough to do anything. But maybe I can seal it. You never know. I could probably just silicone this thing on. That fits tight, but this doesn't. I don't know what this piece. I don't know what it's for. Well, one thing I will say is we will be able to give this thing a play. I don't know how great it's going to sound with this thing all kind of jury-rigged like this. Let me find these screw holes. I won't put them in tight because I want to show you a little surprise after we try it out. Interesting that it says Wurlitzer there. I wonder why. I wonder what the affiliation with Wurlitzer was. I know RCA bought Victor, hence the RCA Victor, and the Electrola versions of these, which actually had radios and electric motors in some of them instead of wind-up. Be interesting with an electric motor and the mechanical horn. Very interesting how that would sound. Now, there was a record in here. The lady had one record. I can't guarantee what this is going to sound like. There's a couple other things in here. But let's look at this. So, going by this box, I don't know if there's a date on this, but this doesn't look old enough. This doesn't look 1920s at all. This does. This looks actually older than 1920s. I couldn't believe it was true. Eddie Arnold. You passed me by. Hank Snow. Interesting. Oh, Hank Snow. The dates on these? New Jersey, made in USA. I wish there were dates. Because what I want to find is records that were actually recorded with the electronic process. Because if these were recorded the old-fashioned way, which they may have been, they're going to just sound like the old-fashioned Victrolas. But regardless, let's give it a shot. Let's see, even with this thing all loose like that, it should still... I don't know about this piece here. If I take this out, does it feel tighter? Not really. Well, let's crank this guy up. I don't like that slipping sound. I may be making some more adjustments back there. That should be plenty to play the record. Alright, let's see. Now, how you adjusted the volumes in these. I have my hand over that. I don't know I was cranking it. How you adjust the volumes in these was you open the doors. That's it. So I get this out of the way. So you just open these doors. That's how you adjust the volume. Sorry, I'm charging my phone while we're doing this because the battery's dead, so you're gonna have to have a cable in the way. Let's just take this out. We don't really need that right there. It's bright enough in here for this. All right, I've got it cranked. This is too loose. This is gonna need a full rebuild, new rubber in pieces, but it's all right, first play, and who knows how long. I don't know about the speed or really how any of this is going to sound. That's not right. Alright, something's wrong there. Let me check this out. Hold on. Yeah. Readjust this piece here, because something's definitely screwy with it. Because the needle's not even sitting in the right spot. I'm just going to reverse it and see. Well, let's see what we get. Oh, that's not going to work. Alright, so we're going to remedy that situation real quick. A little painter's tape to hold this thing on. I know, not ideal, but I need a new rubber piece for that. Come on. The brake keeps turning on. Alright, here we go. Interesting that there doesn't appear to be any place to rest this arm when you... I think it's supposed to have a catch here, and it does not. Alright, let's shut that down. Alright. Well, that was You Pass Me By Hank Snow. Hopefully I don't get copyright dinged for playing it. Alright, so we've proven now that the phonograph part will work. I'm going to have to put some time into this. Right now it works. My belief is I can rebuild the rubber seal inside and get it going. But I got a couple other ideas I want to show you. I'll be right back. Alright, so we've got the Victrola Granada playing. It plays 78s, that's great. But what if you want to really amaze people? And you can close this door. When it was playing, you could do the same thing. Just close the door and just open those doors, and there you have a cabinet playing. And interestingly, unlike that, which clearly looks 100 years old, this doesn't. The color of the wood and this general style, it could pass for even 1950s. But well, let's do something really cool. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm gonna take this thing off in our quest to do something that everyone's gonna want one of these when you see what I'm about to do. I'm told that parts to repair these are still readily available, probably on eBay, so I will find something to repair this tone arm on eBay. But let's get this out of the way or it won't scratch the cabinet. Okay, so what I've got here is I cut a headphone jack, stereo headphone jack. You don't want to use a mono, it won't give you enough power. I cut a stereo headphone jack, and I took a speaker. So they used to sell computer speakers that would play without power. So they didn't have to be powered speakers. You need those. You need that type of speaker. So you can see I've still got some plastic on there in my haste to quickly cut this thing open and wire both channels to it very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this speaker. Let's put it in the iPad. I'm going to bring it up to the phone so you can hear it. Can you hear that? No. What's this? So, how cool is that? So if you close this, so that is completely powered by the iPad. Again, for example, so that gives you an example of how this mechanical horn actually works and how it does broadcast a tinny little sound coming out of the reproducer down the tone arm and into that. But I'm not done. Let's do cool experiment number 2. Can you take something, a technology, essentially from before the days when electricity was common, and make it a Bluetooth player? Well, of course you can, and the same principle applies. And it'll go a lot louder than with this. So let's check that out. Okay, this is a mini Bluetooth speaker. This is made by Anker, and coincidentally, it fits perfectly right there. Let's take this piece off. It fits right on that gasket. No vibrations, no nothing. So with this little USB charged Bluetooth speaker, you can just place that right over the hole. Go to your player and unlike the little speaker, this can go a lot louder, and you can also, of course, control your volume right from there. Turn it up. So now, talk about your lusty Romeo. Here's one that takes the cake. He keeps us all away. I'm so sick of hearing him propose. All night long they sit there spooning. Suddenly he stops his crooning. Stella, you're as sweet as vanilla. Stella, I love you so. When I touch your hand, it feels just like an electric shock. All right, there you have it. So that's how you can take one of these 1910s, 1920s, like that, or like that, and make it a zombie Bluetooth player. Now, technically, it's not a zombie because it is using the horn. It's not using the phonograph. But anyway, I think that's about it for this video. I don't really know what more else I can do. I don't have the parts to really reproduce or rebuild the reproducer, but I'm going to work on that. And if it's anything of interest, other than me just buying parts, the rubber piece, and putting it in there, I'll make a video of that. But essentially, we're done. So, $100, I've got not only a beautiful piece of furniture here, note the detail. Look at these little lines on that. How interesting is that? I'm going to cut in here. I forgot a couple details. One, I wanted to give you a close-up of this speaker, and I will include a link for those of you who want to do that, and how perfectly that fits right on that gasket. Just perfect. The other thing I wanted to demonstrate was the doors as your volume control. So we'll hit play on this thing again. Let me turn it down just a little bit. Hit play. They've been married just all right, so watch this. So this is how in the old days they would turn the volume down. Turn it up, crank it up, man. Every morning I can hear them when I'm yawning, Stella. You're as sweet as all right. Stella. On top of it being a beautiful piece of furniture, I've got another way to impress people in how eccentric I am with a odd Bluetooth player that's playing out of an old Victrola crank phonograph. And great, the crank phonograph actually works. I can demonstrate that as well if I want to. So, hey, if you want to take on something like this, all you got to do is find one of these things and go out and get busy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful, and maybe you'll see one of these. They don't go for a lot. Even if you don't find a deal, a couple hundred, 300 at most, you can find one. And you can do the same thing with yours. All of them pretty much work on the same principle. Now, Victrola is its own brand. There's Graphenolas. There's the Edison phonographs, some of which are disc or cylinders, rather, not platters. And there's a couple others, but most of them you should be able to do this exact same thing with because the tone arms all connect the same. All right, so as I said before, if you want to take on something like this, don't be intimidated. Just go out, get busy, like and subscribe, and take care.